Alright, YouTube, I'm back. Well, things didn't pan out like I wanted to, so I ended up not getting the job interview because, well, first of all, the bus drove too slow. Number two, even if I could have gotten to the area fast and quick enough, guess what? I would have needed enough time to find the place. So it's a lot further from the South Bay Mall. So I thought I'll make the video that I said I was gonna make. You know, I'm in the area. I'm gonna leave. I don't want no one to, call the police, because when you come in other areas that you're not supposed to be in, and people be wondering why you taking your camera out and filming when you're not supposed to. Sorry, this is gonna be self-improvement, sex and dating. He's a 5, but he thinks he's a 10. Now, this video is not to really make fun of men from the ages of 18 to 29, but what I want most of you men that are in your 20s and early 30s to understand, it's not funny when a guy that you went to high school and college gets rejected by the opposite sex. So if you're laughing or making fun of your best friend in high school or in college or even at the gym or at work because he found some woman that's physically sexually attractive, but she doesn't find him physically sexually attractive, don't laugh. It's not funny, because no sooner than you laugh and make fun of them, I promise you, whether it's 3 months later, 6 months later, 9 months later, I don't care if it's 2 or 4 years later, eventually it's going to happen to you too. Eventually you too will get rejected by a woman you find physically, sexually attractive in college or at work or at the gym, and then other people will be laughing at you and making fun of you. Now, we all can relate that when we were in high school and college, we had this one guy that thought he was the man. Like, he really thought he was the man because he had on Michael Jordan tennis shoes. I mean, we all been there. We all went to the shoe store. We went to Foot Locker or Foot Action, and we waste our money on some expensive basketball tennis shoes. We got the Kobe's, the LeBrons, and we thought we were Michael Jordan when we put on those Jordans. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. When y'all was playing basketball, when you put them Jordans on, you thought you was Michael Jordan. You put on them Kobe Bryants, you thought you were Kobe Bryant. You put on them LeBron James, you thought you was LeBron James. But when you got into college or you got in the real world, you found out, well, we all find out, you're not Michael Jordan. You're not Kobe Bryant. You're not LeBron James. You found out very fast, very quick. Same thing if you're a white man or a Latino man, you found out that you're not Tom Brady. You found out that you was not Aaron Rodgers. You found out that you were not these guys when you picked up the football. And every time you saw a woman that you found physically, sexually attractive, you got rejected. Now, let's talk about how this ties into sex and dating. Let's explain why I call it he's a 5, but he thinks he's a 10. Let's use the nightclubs and the bars as a prime example. Most men, when they go to nightclubs and bars, they have a prime objective. Their prime objective is to get a phone number and try to somehow score. And you guys do know what scoring is. I'm trying to keep this as clean and PG as I possibly can. Now, being delusional hurts. We've all been there in high school and college, even at work. We've seen those movies. We've seen those television shows. And we've tried to copy and imitate what we saw in those movies and television shows. And we found out firsthand that that doesn't work in the real world. You know, it may work for Chris Pratt as Star-Lord of the Guardians of the Galaxy. All he had to do is dance, and Gamora will say yes to him taking her out to lunch and dinner. We dance, a woman will pick up the phone and call the police. I'm just trying to tell you. If Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Iron Man, makes a sarcastic joke, a woman will laugh at it because it's Robert Downey Jr. making the sarcastic joke. you do it or I do it, we're going to get some pepper spray to the face and the eyes or get hit with a taser. So when I say, do you know what it feels like to be delusional? Yeah, I'm sure most of us can relate to that. You know, the painful realization that you didn't get the job. I mean, how many times y'all went on a job interview and you thought you was going to actually get the job? You actually thought you got the job. You know, you filled out the application, you applied online, you did the resume, you did the cover letter page, you got the letter of recommendation, you dressed up in a suit and tie, and before you knew it, you went to the interview, you answered all the questions truthfully, and then they told you the same thing that they tell every applicant. We'll call you back. And you sit by the phone and you wait about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, nothing. And then you go and you fill out 5 more or 10 more applications, and the same cycle repeats itself, right? Just the idea of you believing that you had a chance to get that job, or even worse, you got the job, and then no sooner you got the job, 2 months or 3 months went in and it wasn't what you expected. You had no idea that in three months, 90 days later, they would let you go because they came to the conclusion you're not the right person. Even though they trained you and they showed you how to do the job and you finally got good at the job and you were great at the job, they just came to the conclusion you're just not the guy that they thought you were in the beginning when they first hired you. And your pride was hurt, your confidence was hurt. Well, women do that too. I'm not saying all women, so I don't want the all police to come in here and get mad and say, he said all women. Not all women, but you have some women that will do it. Now, when a guy first gets rejected, right? When a guy first gets blown off, she's doing you a favor because she's trying to make you understand that that's a warning. You know, and we see it in the movies, we see it in the television shows, and we get the idea of, I want to try again. I think I can do better. And then, you know, the girl is like, well, I already rejected him. You know, I told him, no, I'm not interested, and you still think she's interested because she's giving you conversation. Taking the same points of the last video for this video, so some of the stuff's going to repeat itself with some new information. Now, most of us have this thing where we mess up at, including me. It happened to me like 8 to 9 times. Some of you might even argue it's probably happened 10 to 11 times. I say 8 to 9, you might argue it's probably happened to me 10 to 11 times. I know my dad would probably say, nah, it's more like 12 times it's happened to you, if it's my dad. My dad would say, nah, it's happened to you 12 times. We all can relate to a girl talks to us. She see we ain't got no friends. She see that we're by ourselves. We're standoffish. And she don't want you to feel excluded. So whether it's school or work, she comes up to you and she talks to you because all the other girls don't want to talk to you because they're scared to talk to you. And it's not that you're a creep or a weirdo. It's just she doesn't know you very well. So she befriends you. She's nice to you. But you accidentally take that the wrong way. Oh, she really likes me. She really finds me physically, sexually attractive. But you start cracking jokes that are not funny, and she has to explain to you they're not funny jokes. They're not funny. Nobody's laughing. And then it gets worse because then it's 3 months later, it's 6 months later, and even though you exchange phone numbers, you wonder why you're not getting no phone calls, no text messages. You wondering why you're still not getting no responses. And when you come to work, you notice she avoids you. You notice she ignores you. You notice that she's not even trying to talk to you. And you wondered what you said or done wrong so you could fix it. And I've always said the worst thing that you could do is try to fix something that shouldn't be fixed. That's one of my biggest mistakes. I did it in high school, and I got punished for it. And when I got into college, I stopped doing it. And then when I got my first job, I didn't have to do it because I had a goal. My goal was to make money. When I got my second job, I kind of accidentally done it by accident because you don't suspect a beautiful, attractive woman to take notice of you and then start talking to you, and then you're confused because you don't know why you're getting all the attention. And then our second mistake as men that we make, we don't question why we're getting the attention. We're not questioning, is it good attention, bad attention? We don't question that. We just happy to get attention. Think about it. You got rejected. It's a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5 years since a woman paid attention to you. And as soon as some woman pay attention to you, you get all happy and excited. And you don't care if it's black women, white women, Mexican women, Asian or Indian women. You don't care if she's young or old. You just want attention. Translation, mistake number 3, you have the thirst. You know, you're thirsty. That's what women call it on the internet. You'll hear black women say, why are you so thirsty? You'll hear white women saying, why are you trolling so hard? Why are you coming at me so strong and so hard? I don't know you like that, right? And this leads to you getting rejected a total of 6 to 7 times. So you get 7 rejections in 9 months because you keep trying to pursue her to make her like you. Which brings us to mistake number 4 or number 5. You can't make someone that doesn't find you physically, sexually attractive to like you. Either they like you or they don't like you. How do I know? Because I've done that all in high school. The reason why it didn't happen as much in college was because I wasn't trying to do anything in college. It resurfaced when I got my second job. Because what did I said? I went 1 year, 2 years, 3 years without attention. But the average man goes about 5 years with no attention. Think of it as professional sports. Think of all the teams that have won championships in professional sports, like basketball. Los Angeles Lakers won 16 NBA championships. But the Lakers have gone to like 20 NBA finals, but they won 16 championships. The Boston Celtics, they have won 17 championships, but they've gone to 23 NBA finals. And then you have teams that only go to the finals once in their franchise, and it be 10, 15, 20 years later. Extreme cases, 25 to 30 years later, but they still ain't won no championship. And then you get teams that finally win a championship, but they don't win one for another 10 years. Like, take the Toronto Raptors as a prime example. They won their first title, which was this year. And unfortunately, a lot of us are like Toronto Raptors. We just won our first championship. Took a while, but we won our first title. Now, you might say, well, what does this have to do with the thirst? What does have to do with being thirsty is that because you never got that level of attention in high school, you never got it in college, you start looking for it at work. The place that helps you pay your bills, helps you get a house, helps you get a car, helps you buy clothes and shoes. You start destroying the one thing that helps you get money, your job. So you start looking for that attention at your job, like I did. And I'm not the only one. There's like 9 other guys that did the same thing I did and got in trouble at work. I was like the 3rd or 4th guy. But the point is, you destroy what you did at work. To make matters worse, you didn't start to take that same level of energy, which is desperation, and you take it everywhere. Everywhere you go, you take that same level of attention. And then people look at you and you see, when you start to go after other races of women, they be like, no wonder why you ain't getting no attention. Because you looking for it too much. You keep trying to find it and don't want to just stop. Now here's something that they don't tell you in high school or in college. That is, the more you don't try to look for attention, the more you get attention. I'm going to say it again. The more you don't try to look for the attention, the more you get the attention. You ever ask yourself, how come, for whatever reason, a cute girl just pays attention to you when you didn't ask for it, but then when you do want the attention, you don't get it? Yeah, that happens 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Now, the reason why I say, have you ever been delusional, is because there be a bunch of men from the age of 18 to 29 that experience what I like to call sexual frustration, because they're not used to going 4 years in high school, no attention from women. Okay, I go to college, 4 plus 4 is 8. That's 8 years, no attention. Okay, I'm 25, I'm 26 years old. I'm in my late 20s, pushing into my early 30s. Where is the attention? Okay, I get a job, and the girl that pays you attention, here's the next thing on why we call it the thirst. She's average or below average, and you make it seem like you're talking to Scarlett Johansson, Jennifer Lawrence, Lauren London, Zendaya. You're making it seem like you're talking to these, larger than life, super hot, attractive women, and she's just an average or below average woman, and you're not realizing that she's just average or below average. But because you didn't get no attention for 8 years, you make it seem that way. And then women get creeped out, they think something's wrong with you mentally, psychologically, don't want to have nothing to do with you at work. So you go to the gym, and you take that same level of energy at the gym, and you do the same exact thing again, and you wonder why all the women in the gym don't want to come into the work environment in the gym to work out. Then you get the worst thing that can happen to you. You're 30 or 35, you got a car, you got an apartment, and as soon as you get some woman that's 300 pounds or 400 pounds, fat and obese, that can't get no man, takes an interest in you, then you take her up on the offer. And then people be trying to figure out, what is a handsome, attractive man doing with someone like that? The answer to that question is that guy never got no attention in high school, no attention in college. He had to cry and whine for the attention at work, and he ain't understanding what it is. And you see, we all make these mistakes because a lot of us don't want to take a look in the mirror that a lot of the stuff that we do with women, we got it from movies and television shows. And you see, the mind games that women use on us is because it's to reject us. Think about it. You know that one guy that was in high school and college, at work, that every time he talks to a girl, he always gets rejected because he keeps trying stuff from movies and television. He sees Chad or Tyrone has a leather jacket, so he buys a leather jacket. Tyrone bought the leather jacket because his old leather jacket got ripped, it got torn in the washer machine or at the cleaners, so he had to buy a new leather jacket. So he copies the guy that has a leather jacket, thinking, well, if it works for Brad and Chad and Tyrone, it should work for me. Both guys get their driver's license, right? Chad has a car. Every girl wants to ride in Chad's new car. Billy gets a car. Nobody wants to ride in this car, except for Grandma. Very embarrassing, very humiliating. And what Billy don't understand is, if he would stop being so thirsty, he would actually get a woman to ride in his car. So Chad get all the girls, but Billy's driving to 15, 20 different places, trying to wonder what's going on. And you know what's even more funny when you get super desperate? You even scare off women that are sluts. Oh yeah, they have new science statistics that even if you get in your 20s or early 30s and you're extremely desperate, like the highest level of desperation is probably a 10. You can scare off a woman with too many tattoos, too many body. It doesn't matter if the girl's all slutty and skanky. It don't matter if she all skank with it. Don't matter if she got 5 tattoos or 10 tattoos and 15 body piercings and she like 90 pounds and she looked like she been a stripper. You can scare off even those women with that level of desperation. Once they sense the energy, the desperate energy from you, you're not going to have the satisfaction of explaining to the police that you were so desperate, and the police be like, oh, okay, this guy's a creep, this guy's got a problem, we need to lock him up now. And then your parents and your grandparents get furious with you because you have all this level of energy and you're scaring people. Then you take that energy every single where you go, and then you go to your next job interview, and then they be like, I ain't gonna hire this guy. I just get this feeling that this guy might go off if I reject him. Now you don't get the job. Now if you swipe out the concept of working and you translate that to girls, it's the same thing. And then the girls play the mind games, and then you keep repeating the same cycle. And it ain't until somebody has to sit down and explain to you that you went wrong because you kept trying the same thing. I'm just trying to explain how far the level of desperation goes. Like desperation, it goes very far. The highest level is 10. And it ain't until you see a man date a woman that's 300 pounds or 400 pounds, or he mess with a woman that's 50 or 60 years old to ask out to lunch and dinner because he's that super desperate. And then you get these super handsome, attractive men who go to the gym 3 to 4 times a week, that's bigger, stronger, and faster, that does cardio, that does weight training, they work out, they're handsome, they have a house or an apartment, they have a car, they have 2 jobs, they make a lot of money, and for whatever reasons, you're seeing them date below their standards. You're seeing them go way past what you expect that's considered below your standards. That's how that happens. It starts with being too desperate. And when people tell you stop being desperate, the mistake we make is we don't know how to stop being desperate. We just keep making the same mistake, and then it ain't until you get in trouble with the police or security because you keep making the same mistake. If something isn't working the first time and you try it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, you've tried it 5 times and it's not working, is because it never worked in the first place. The reason of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and either expecting the same results or no result. And when I say there's 10 levels of desperation, there is. Anytime you see a super handsome, attractive man, doesn't matter if it's a black man, a white man, or a Mexican man, or an Asian man, or an Indian man, and he has money, and he has status, and he's good looking, but you see him with a woman that's 300 pounds, 400 pounds, or the woman's 50 or 60 years old, one has to ask themselves, why is this man dating way below his standards? Because he is extremely super desperate. 10 being the highest. 5 being considered the lowest level of desperation, 10 being the highest. Because he keeps bringing this desperate level of energy, and people can feel that energy at work, at the gym, at the mall, at the movie theater, at school. You bring that level of energy everywhere, and then when you hear a pickup artist or a dating coach tell you that level of energy, that's what they're referring to. But they don't tell you that in the 2-hour, 3-hour, 4-hour seminars. I don't want to make this video longer than it has to be. I did the best I could to explain it. Until then, peace.